Hello, we're going to use VCarve Pro to create the puck or coaster that we used in the Shopbot class taught at Maker Nexus in Sunnyvale, California. I'm going to use VCarve Pro, the Makerspace edition. There's another video in the same directory that'll teach you the basics of getting around. This is going to be a streamlined version which creates the geometry for the puck or coaster as I've been calling it and cuts it out. So I'm going to create a new file. First thing I do is decide how big my workspace is. Let's say it's 6 inches by 6 inches and 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to use inches. You could use millimeters as well. Remember, we use the machine bed and the lower left-hand corner as our X, Y, and Z origins. And we don't choose offset unless we know what we're doing and have a good reason for it. I'm going to click OK. There's my workspace. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to import some vectors. And I have my Maker Nexus logo that someone else drew for me in a DXF format. It's going to bring it in, and it's going to drop it in my workspace. I want to make sure it's centered, so you notice that it's already selected. I'm going to go to the alignment tools, and select center, and yes, it is actually centered. Great. Okay, so I'm going to do the green part using an engraving tool, and the blue part is I'm going to cut out with a 1/4 inch end mill. So I'm done with the drawing section. I'm going to go over to the toolpaths, fly out, and click the pin so I can keep it. Okay, I'm going to select the Maker Nexus logo characters, and I'm going to use the engraving tool path. Click on that. I'm going to select the 1/2 inch engraving tool bit, the one that is one of my favorites. It's a V-bit or a pointed cutting tool. 16,000 RPM, 100 inches per minute, 77. These all look very good for feeds and speeds. I'm going to say OK. There's really nothing else. I want to start actually at the top of the material, not at 1/4 inch down. So I'm going to make sure that I'm starting at the very top at 0.0 inches above the surface of the object, not above the table, above the object itself. And the rest of them are all fine on the defaults. I'm going to click Calculate. And it's going to bring me to my 3D view where I can click Preview, and it'll show me what's going to happen. Looking good. I'm going to close my preview, and I'm going to go back to the 2D view. Notice up at the top here we got 2D and 3D view. If I go back to 2D view, you can see where I was working before. Next, I'm going to select the outer ring, and this time I'm going to use what's called a profile. Profile cuts either on the outside of a line, inside of a line, or right down the center of the line. I'm going to choose outside because this line was calculated exactly the size I wanted my coaster. I'm going to start at 0.0, which is the top of a material, and I'm going to cut 0.75 inches down because that's exactly how deep my piece of material is. I'm going to make sure that I'm using my 1/4 inch end mill, which I am. And I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch at a time because I want to be conservative. 12,000 RPM, 120 inches per minute, and plunge rate of half of the feed rate is great. Hit select. Okay. We're going to take 6 passes because 3/4 of an inch, 1/8 at a time. It turns out to be 6 passes. I'm not going to do a separate last pass. I am going to add tabs because I want this to stay stuck in my piece of material until I can take it out by myself. So I click Add Tabs, and I need to click Edit, otherwise it won't actually do any tabs. Over here in the Edit, I can freehand and select where I want my tabs to be. And if I accidentally put too many in, I go back and I click the same spot and it removes it. 3 tabs looks good. I'm going to click Close. Next, we are going to add a ramp to the toolpath. Or what a ramp does is feeds in at an angle rather than plunging straight into the material. We have the choice of smooth, which goes a certain distance, or spiral, which will actually continually cut down and is in fact the fastest and prettiest of the choices for ramping. Notice down here I have the opportunity to change the actual name of this. This is helpful if you are doing all kinds of paths in a file so you know which one is which if you name them sensibly. Clicking Calculate actually creates that. You can see that I've got my 6 different paths. When I click Preview, Around we go. And you can see it's going down in a continuous, it's not stepping down, it's moving in a continuous path. I'll also notice that my tabs are in place, and it's great. Okay, one of the things I can do is I can select all my tool paths and click the watch, and it'll tell me that the VCarve path is going to take 1 minute and 25 seconds, and the cutout is going to take almost 3 minutes. So other than the time it takes to change my tools, I'm looking at about a 5 minutes worth of actual cutting time. Close. So normally I would be able to save the file using the save tool path. However, with the Makerspace Makerspace version, you are not able to save tool paths on your home PC. You need to take this file to Maker Nexus, and that will be covered in another video. So what I need to do is I need to do File, Save As, and I'm going to call it New One. Save my file, and I will take that file on my flash drive to Maker Nexus, and we will create the actual cutting tool paths. So thank you very much for listening.